Well, guys, here I am. I wasn't planning on making a video today, but it looks as though I may have gotten scammed, and I feel like it's time to tell the story about it. It was kind of just confirmed late last night that this is what happened, but this is a story about 3 years in the making. So let's talk about it. So we're gonna have to go all the way back to like 2021. This was when pop-up parade figures were first coming out and were getting really popular, and the Nekopara pop-up parade figures were on pre-order. Now, I love Cinnamon, she's my favorite, so I pre-ordered that one. Now, if you guys know me and been around for a little bit, you know that I am a cheapskate. I will always try to find the best deal on a figure, so of course I went around the internet trying to find the cheapest price for Cinnamon. And I found it on a website called Sure Thing Toys. Now, I don't even think it was that much cheaper, honestly, than what was on, at the time, Right Stuff, which was where I originally saw that she was up for pre-order, but I ended up pre-ordering her through Sure Thing Toys, and everything was fine, honestly. She came on time exactly when she was supposed to, and so I felt pretty good about it. I don't have a video of me unboxing Cinnamon, but I can show you her now. This is Cinnamon from Nekopara. It is a very cute pop-up parade figure, and seeing this figure definitely made me excited for Maple. I wanted to have Maple and Cinnamon as they are my two favorites, Cinnamon being my absolute favorite. So I also pre-ordered Maple, and I felt pretty good about it because everything was totally fine with Cinnamon. But then time passed. For about the first year, I kind of just stayed positive about it because Cinnamon had a similar thing where she, I believe she was in production for about a year as well, and I actually had made a post on Twitter asking if that was normal, and I did have people come back and tell me, yeah, they've had pre-orders that have lasted that long, and it's taken them that long to get their figures. Even recently, Kendi unboxed their Shantae figure, and that one was also in pre-order for probably about 3 years. So I was okay with the time being long, except for the fact that about a year and a half after I pre-ordered it, while looking at the pop-up parade figures on Right Stuff, we saw that Maple was no longer on pre-order and was actually in stock, and I could have just bought her right then. That was kind of a red flag to me, but I was like, well, maybe she's coming, you know, maybe they're gonna get her in a little bit and Maple's gonna be on my way. So I did end up messaging, emailing them about it. I mentioned that Right Stuff already had her in stock, so like, is Maple being sent out? I got kind of a lackluster response to that. They just were kind of like, well, we don't control, you know, when other stores get their stock, so I don't know. They really couldn't help me. And at this point, because it was over a year, I only really had two choices. Either I could just wait it out and maybe she would just show up one day, or I could contact them about canceling my pre-order, but then I would have to take store credit because I didn't use a regular card, I used my PayPal. And PayPal only has, for their PayPal payments, they only do like a year, I believe. I was already way past, basically. So those were my two options. And because I didn't really feel like trying to cancel it, I did just kind of sit and wait and hope that she was going to show up one day. But about every month, every 2 months, I would be scooting along on the internet and look up and see my pre-order and see, you know, where she was. And Maple's pre-order on the Sure Thing website would constantly change. It was originally like, you know, whatever month, and then every time I would check, it would have moved up a couple more months. To make it be like, ooh, she's coming out in a month or two, I guess I'll just wait, and then a month or two will pass and I would check and it would be another month or two. So I definitely started to get a little little bit iffy that Maple wasn't coming. I did eventually decide that I was going to try to get the store credit. So I did email them. They weren't very helpful. Not that I tried super hard to get, like, to cancel the pre-order, but I definitely didn't get a great response from them. I had emailed them saying, hey, I want to cancel the pre-order. They kind of came back and were like, well, you would have to take store credit because you did PayPal or whatever, and are you sure that you want to do that? And then I had responded yes, I believe, but it was a little bit later because the emails were kind of through like a weekend and I wasn't responding immediately. So at this point, I wasn't even sure if my pre-order had been canceled. I never got like a cancellation email or anything, but I wasn't, all I knew was that I still wanted her, but it didn't seem like it was happening. So this all comes to a head to last night. Me and Kenji were talking about figures and figure collecting, and, you know, figures that we want to collect. And we brought up Maple, and I was like, oh yeah, Maple, let me check on her. As I do, it had been a couple months, so it was time to, actually, I think it had been longer than a couple of months. I maybe possibly February, but it had to have been around that time because of what I'm about to reveal now. So last night I went on the website, and what I typically do, I just Google like Sure Thing toys and my bookmark will pop up. So I clicked on that and it led me to an error screen. The error said that the site wasn't safe to go on, and there was like no way for me to bypass this. I could not get onto the site, and I was like, okay, like, is this just Google? Like, why? Okay, so I went over to my shop app, where the pre-order also shows up on there, and that's typically, I'll either Google it or I'll go through shop. Now that it's been so long, I typically just Google it because of the bookmark, but before I could go through like my shop orders and find her that way. But I was like, okay, let me go find her. So I scoot around, I found her, give her a click, try to get onto the website, same problem. Still couldn't get onto it, was still a privacy problem or whatever, that it wasn't a safe website or whatever. And I was like, oh boy, that's not good. So I then Googled just Sure Thing Toys without the bookmark, just surethingtoys.com, which is what they were, and I still couldn't get onto it. And I was like, oh no, this can't be happening. This website's gone. They're gone. And so I did some Googling some more, and I went to see if Sure Thing Toys had closed down. And yes, they had. Sure Thing Toys had closed down in February, which is why I said the last time I checked would have had to have been January or early February, because they closed like by the end of February and they were gone. And other people were talking about the same issues, that they shut down and they had pre-orders. There were people who had $400 worth of pre-orders that they just lost that money on because they didn't contact anybody. I did go through my emails to see like if I had gotten like any emails saying like, hey, we're closing or whatever. They actually didn't even have those. All the emails, like the like email ads that they sent me were all just about sales that they were having all the way up to the end of February, saying that they were having like 25% off sales, but they don't mention anything about them being like a closing sale or anything. Now again, when I went on Reddit, people were talking about how it did seem like they were liquidating stock, they were having a lot of sales, but at no time did they mention that they were closing. They didn't contact apparently anybody who had pre-orders, tried to get anybody's money back or anything. Now, luckily for me, I am only out about $45 for Maple, and I can get her just fine on another website. She is on AmiAmi, she is on Crunchyroll, she's a Papa Parade, so that's easy. I do feel very bad for the people who lost out on their pre-orders. That sucks. And it's like a horrible situation. That's horrible. And I did kind of Reddit was kind of taking me down a rabbit hole. They had apparently been getting very mixed to negative reviews on their Facebook, and they stopped responding to those in February as well. They just didn't want anything to do with anybody. And it's a little bit bittersweet that I don't get Maple now. I was still holding out hope, a teeny tiny sliver of hope, but it was some hope nonetheless that I was going to get Maple. And now I have to go through other means. I always want to believe the best in people, especially because this seemed like a smaller company, but damn, did they just take my money and run. So from now on, I'm definitely sticking to my 2 favorite anime figure sites, which are gonna be Tokyo Otaku Mode and AmiAmi, possibly Crunchyroll, but I have issues with Crunchyroll as well. But I'm definitely not going to be trying random sites that could possibly shut down in a couple of years. But that is it. So that is the whole story. That is what happened. Again, this was not the video I was planning on making today. I am working on other things. I promise, maybe eventually, if I can get my stuff together. But I hope you liked it nonetheless. I do have other figure videos on my channel and other unboxings if you would like to see those. Otherwise, if you want to see more from me, feel free to subscribe and stick around. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!